Welcome to The Other Worlds, where we talk to authors of fantasy, supernatural, and paranormal stories. Let's open the portal and meet our guest. Hello, my name is Sandra Tan, and today Jenna Levine joins me. Jenna is the USA Today bestselling author of the My Vampire series. Her latest, Road Trip with a Vampire, is in stores now. When not writing or busy with her day job, Jenna spends time wrangling cats and starting knitting projects that she usually abandons. Welcome to the Other Worlds, Jenna.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So what's with this abandoning the knitting projects?
It's a passion of mine. I get very excited. I call it startitis. I don't think I coined the phrase. I've been knitting my whole life. Well, not, I mean, most of my life. And sometimes, the shiny new project I haven't started yet just kind of steals my attention away. But what really happens is I get very into a project, but then I get really busy. Or, I have a goofy elbow that acts up, and so I set it to the side for a while, and then I just never get back to it. And so I do finish things, but the default, I probably have like a 50 or lower percent finish rate over my lifetime. And we won't go into my closet where there's a lot of abandoned stuff.
Well, you never know. Someday you might pick them up. So they're maybe not
Exactly, which is
banned.
why they're in my closet. Yep.
They're just on hold. So,
Yes, on hold.
so should I start off with the serious stuff or should I start off with the fun stuff?
Whichever you prefer. I'm here for both.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll get this one out of the way. This is a quote from the book. While I knew on some level that there were podcasts worth listening to, I'd met way too many douchebags who thought having a podcast was a sufficient substitute for having a personality.
Okay, so hear
Yeah.
me out. I was not talking about bookish podcasts. So, okay, you got me. I have in my other life, I have a very sort of self-serious, it's a very kind of self-serious profession. And I know a lot of people or have known who have a podcast, and it's not about something interesting like books or art or music. It's just, about their scholarship, and they think having a podcast automatically makes them interesting, which isn't actually true. And so I was thinking of some specific people I've known in my life. Again, not book podcasts, because people who listen to those are interesting, but people who do other kind of more academic pursuits that don't have broad appeal. So
You could have just said that that was something that you and Zelda did not have in common.
I could have.
No,
But I'm not going to.
apparently not. Well, on that note, what I was wondering if there was a podcast that Zelda would listen to, what would it be about?
I think she'd listen to a podcast about yoga. I think she would listen to a podcast about self-help and recovery from trauma. I think she would probably listen to a podcast on travel. She likes to read, but I don't know that she would listen to a podcast about books. But if she did, it would certainly be yours.
You're too kind. Yeah, I mean, it's funny when I was reading that because I don't actually listen to a lot of podcasts. So,
Interesting.
and I think that I think that the market has just become so saturated. Like everybody and their Uncle
Yes.
Bob has a podcast.
Well, and that's kind of what I through Zelda was trying to get at. And there are fabulous podcasts, but then Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my husband listens to a lot of podcasts, so
Mhm.
I certainly know that there are really good ones.
But I also admit it was a very throwaway line that I didn't put a lot of thought into when I put it in there.
Oh, I thought it was funny. I mean, honestly,
Thank you.
it's one of those things where it's like this is the kind of thing that really, um, I don't know, just kind of anchors the character. You've got that full attitude right there, just like here's my opinion, and I'm not holding back. And it's
Well, and
just
that's her for sure. That is
yeah,
definitely Zelda.
yeah. So on that, keeping on that theme, so there's definitely some um disagreements about music in this book
Yes.
between
Yes.
Zelda and Peter. So I'm wondering what would be on your road trip playlist?
So my road trip playlist, I definitely like upbeat. I mean, I listen to a wide variety of stuff sort of in my daily life, but on a road trip, especially if I'm driving a lot of miles, I like upbeat stuff that keeps me awake, that I might bump along to. This probably ages me somewhat, but I love 80s pop. Um, a lot of the kind of the electronica beat stuff from the 80s and 90s too. Um, so yeah, a lot of early Madonna, or I love girls just want to have fun. A lot of the things that I also really I think that Chapel Roan is very fun. Stuff that anything that like would sort of keep me awake, keep me going, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's something that makes you want to do. And it's funny though because I didn't think Zelda liked 80s music. Doesn't she take a
I'm
shot at 80s music when they get to the bowling alley?
Uh, not she doesn't like all 80s music. Yeah. I think and also I think she had more issue with like the sound speakers. The sound system there was not good. I think that
Yeah.
was more her issue.
Yeah, a bad sound system is can really
Yep.
really obliterate your enjoyment. So of you know, of the music. So I thought it was kind of fun though that there was such a difference of opinion about what good music was. And of course, musical debates can be quite intense.
Yeah, and I
So
wanted that to sort of show the differences in their personalities.
yeah, it definitely does show the difference in their personality. But I was wondering, have you ever been on a road trip where you've had a disagreement with somebody about the music?
Absolutely. I think that's pretty common. Um, because people have different musical tastes. My husband and I definitely don't have similar. I mean, some of the stuff we have overlap, but what we like to listen to on the road is not necessarily the same. And the same with my daughter. I think everybody probably has musical disagreements on road trips and in life.
Yeah. So do you go with the rule then that whoever's driving gets to pick?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that's fair to everybody but the kids, right?
Yes,
They just have to deal with
they do.
whatever the driver picks. So, yeah. On that note, though, do you listen to music when you're writing at all?
I do not. I get very easily distracted by any kind of extraneous sound. So I usually use noise canceling headphones. And if I listen to anything, it's like nature sounds on Spotify. But yeah, I love the idea of listening to music while writing, but I just get way too distracted.
Yeah, it's I hear you. Also the brain doesn't bend the same way to me when you get uh, a little older. Where I'm at now, I can't. Whereas, 15 years ago, I could.
Well, and yeah, same. I was in college decades and decades ago, and I definitely listened to music in college when I wrote papers, but I have a much older brain now that's wired very differently, and I just get too distracted.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that one. So, so since we're, we've talked about podcasts and we talked about music, so now it's time to talk about, uh, you know, true crime dramas. because they're also referenced in the book. It's Lindsay who says going on a road trip with a hot, awkward stranger, it's giving Netflix true crime documentary, to be honest.
Hmm.
So, do you watch true
I
crime
do
doc?
not.
No.
It
No.
was a throwaway line.
Another one of those throwaway lines. Huh?
Yes. Yeah. You're
Yeah.
doing a great job of picking those out.
Well, then I guess that's just how this one's going. But I did think it was funny though because I mean, there's also a lot of true crime podcasts as well, and they're
There
very
are.
popular. So,
There are.
so it's a great, really a pop culture reference to this
I get
time.
it. That's sort of what I was going at. And I love Only Murders in the Building, which is sort of a show about the popularity of true crime podcasts. And I did put it in there because I know what they are and I know that they're popular. And I thought that it would sort of convey something to the reader. It was just sort of it would mean something to the reader what Lindsay was saying.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too that if you're as old as I am, I mean,
I
then
may be. I may be older.
but you grew up in a time when you hopped in a car with a stranger. I
Yeah,
mean, you got told that you really shouldn't, but I mean, it sort of was more coming into um, awareness, more. I'm trying to think even how old maybe I was, maybe 12 or 13. It wasn't like, when I was younger, it wasn't, you just well, you almost kind of knew everybody around or whatever, you didn't think about things that way. And now there's this awareness um,
sure.
that we have through social media and through podcasts and whatnot. And a lot, obviously Netflix's true crime documentaries are quite popular, and I don't watch them either, for the most part. But obviously I'm aware of them. And so I found myself thinking about that in terms of like what does it take for a person to actually decide that they're going to go on a road trip with a virtual stranger?
Yeah, for
you know
sure. I mean, Lindsay's concern, I think, was quite justified. I think it was her being a good friend. But I think that, Zelda knew she could take care of herself if it came down to it. And I don't think most 16-year-olds getting into cars with strangers can set curtains on fire. Um, I think she knew that she was able to take care of herself if things went sideways, I think in a way most humans couldn't. So,
Yeah, it definitely puts her in a different position. So, and that's one of the things that's fun about this particular book is that you've got a witch and a vampire. So,
yes.
if you were going to be one of those beings, which
Hmm.
would you choose, witch or vampire?
I think I'd be a witch, even though my books have been about vampires, because I really like eating a lot of different kinds of food. And I don't know, the vampire diet kind of grosses me out and is kind of limited. Um, So probably a witch. I think I could rock a witch's hat. I just think it will be a more well-rounded life than being a vampire.
Now, you actually do mention in the book, you refer to some things that like broomsticks, cauldrons, and black cats as witch stereotypes.
Yes.
And I was wondering when you approached this, how did you decide what you were going to keep from popular witch lore and what you were going to discard?
Um, you know, really, I wanted them. That's a really good question. I mean, I think that I wanted the story not to get bogged down in I guess too much witchy accoutrement, if that's the word. They were going to be going on a road trip, and so if she did need to pack sort of the cauldron, broomstick, it would be kind of a heavy load to pack. Like I actually uh, was like, what do I keep that also makes sense going on a road trip? And so I think if there were a lot of the other things, I think I sort of like decided the plot and the characterization and fit in the lore kind of around that. Because I think that my books they are paranormal, but I think they're paranormal light, like they are, which is in vampires, but the plot and the romance kind of drives the story, not their supernatural identities, or their paranormal identities. So I knew I kind of wanted it to be fairly minimalistic, and I felt like her eschewing most of those things would provide a convenient joke at his expense. But yeah, that's sort of a long way of saying I needed everything to fit in the back of a car.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, and I was when I was thinking about this, though, you mean while you aren't heavy on the paranormal aspects, um, obviously self-acceptance is a and self-forgiveness, I suppose, are really key themes
Mhm.
within this book. And in both cases, they are tied to their paranormal identities. Um, the
Yes.
reasons for that. Why was it important for you to write about those themes?
Um, so yeah, that's a really good question. Part of it was because of who Zelda was. She was mentioned very briefly in my second book. But towards the end, like the epilogue, I imply that she had gotten up to some bad stuff. And I really wanted my other two books, I think, were didn't deal with themes that were, I don't think, quite this meaty. And I really wanted to dig into, I guess I just wanted to. I wanted to try it and see what I could do with a character who I'd already established had done some bad stuff, how she could kind of make peace with that and sort of move on from that. And I just thought it would be interesting to try that with the love interest who also has bad things in his past that he needs to work through.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that aspect of the story because
Thank
both
you.
of them are pushed into self-examination. And there was a
Hmm.
part of me that wondered if I was in Peter's shoes and I had
Yeah.
amnesia, would I want to know? Would you want to know? Would you
Well,
be
and
like,
that's that.
no?
I mean, Zelda asks him that at one point. Like, no spoilers, but they come across some things that suggest when he gets his memories back, it might not be that pleasant. I mean, it's really an interesting question, and not one that anyone has asked me before. I mean, if you're given sort of a fresh slate, a clean slate, and you can just sort of make your entire life exactly what you want it to be. I mean, it's kind of tempting. But I also get, I mean, I would want to know, I think, just because of how I am. But the temptation to just be like, wow, this is such an opportunity to just be whoever I want to be and build that from nothing. I mean, I think it's tempting. I probably would want to know, but I could understand the appeal of not finding out.
Yeah.
Especially if I started remembering the kinds of things he was remembering, and experiences they started having on the road.
Yeah, I don't know if I would want to keep going. But then,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's so hard to know. But then also there's that compulsion of like, so I don't know which boat I would be in, I
Yeah, yeah. I've never been a vampire with amnesia on a road trip before, so it's a little hard
really.
to know how I'd react.
Now, when you have them doing this road trip, you go through some interesting parts of the country. Have
Mhm.
you actually gone on road trips through those parts of the country?
Yes, I have. I have not seen those locations. the particular like places like visit, like the businesses they go to or hotels they see in those specific locations. But I grew up in Northern California in an Air Force family, and we moved. Basically, my dad's assignments were just on the East and West Coast. And so we moved between the East and West Coast, and we often drove between the East and West Coast. And then I've lived all over the country. Well, not all over the country, but in most large regions. And I've driven long distances many times. So I have specifically the route they take is a route I have taken, like that specific drive.
Okay, so out of all of the road trips that you've gone on, what's your favorite?
Uh, I mean, a lot of them are long and boring, to be honest, and exhausting. I do like the ones, so we live about 700 miles from my in-laws. They're the closest relatives we have to where we live now. And we go up there by car every Christmas. And going on this trip with my husband and daughter, I like a lot. We usually pick an audiobook that all three of us will enjoy, and it's just nice.
That sounds like a good time. What kind of
Yeah.
audiobooks do you listen to?
Well, I listen to all kinds of things, but our daughter's a teenager, and so we try to pick stuff that all three of us will like. We tend to do like YA fantasy or YA sci-fi. So, my husband is a big Brandon Sanderson fan. I've not really read much of his books. They don't appeal to me as much, but he had a young adult series with a female protagonist, and I'm blanking on the name. It's like a group
Oh,
of teenage starfighters. And we listened to that. We did listen to Fourth Wing before we realized that perhaps it wasn't some of the wasn't super appropriate for a 15-year-old. And we did enjoy that before we realized that we shouldn't listen to that with our kid in the car. But usually something all three of us will like, sort of YA, sci-fi, and fantasy is kind of that sweet spot for all of us. On my own, I listen to a lot more romance. On his own, my husband listens to a lot of fantasy that wouldn't necessarily appeal to me. And our daughter likes manga. So YA fantasy and sci-fi is sort of, we can agree on.
yeah, so a little bit of everything, you
Yeah.
sort of meeting in the middle with
Hmm.
okay. Yeah, it is a challenge with teens to find those that suitable content.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
no shade on Rebecca Yarros. I've read all of her the Dragon books. I enjoy them, but it's just not 15-year-old kid in the car listening. So
Yeah, I mean, it's that yeah, listening to that with your parents is super awkward.
right, and like our daughter could listen to it on her own. Like we don't supervise what she reads. She's 17 now, but I just think for a family listen, it's not quite. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, no, I hear you. There's certain things that you just don't want to experience with your parents around.
exactly.
Yeah, no, thank you. Don't really want to hear this in the car. Not with mom and dad.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I gotcha on that. Pardon me. So one of the things that seems to be maybe a smidge of a recurring theme in your books. Um, Given what Reginald and Amelia were dealing with in their story, he's he goes along as her plus one, and then they are kind of forced into these activities that they have to do together, and so they're forced to spend more time together. And of course, a
Yeah.
road trip. You're in a car. You've got. So, what is it about forced proximity that appeals to you?
It's just the best thing in the world. I love it. And I mean, and my roommate is a vampire. They're roommates. I just love it. It's like, oh no, this person is hot, but I shouldn't think they are. But I might be having feelings for them, but I shouldn't. But oh no, there's only one bed. And oh no, we're in a car together. And just sort of watching people kind of navigate that awkward it's like catnip to me. Like I don't care how many times I read it or write it. Um, I don't think I have it in the book I'm working in right now, but that's going to be a one-time problem because I just love everything about it. It's fun, it's awkward, it's hot. Yeah.
Yeah, I always enjoy the only one bed or only one horse.
Like, oh no, what are we going to do? There's only one bed. And it doesn't matter how many times I read it. I'm like, oh my gosh, what are they going to do? There's only one bed. I just eat it up. I eat it up.
Yeah, we all have our tropes that we're fond of,
Hmm.
so there's nothing wrong with that. It's yeah, and it does make for an interesting story because like when you're traveling as well, it does bring out aspects of your personality that aren't always the most ideal. I mean,
Hmm.
one of the things that I was kept thinking about during their road trip was like, how do they function with so little sleep?
Yeah, they did not sleep a lot on this trip.
Yeah, no, they did not get a lot of rest, and sometimes that makes for, irrational decisions.
Hmm.
It certainly can lean itself that way. So I was curious to see how that was going to unfold when I was reading it. So it was a lot of fun. Uh,
Hmm.
and there's certain things that people do when they go on road trips, and uh, you know, we used to play games, my sister and I, when we were kids, because we went on a lot of road trips. And so you have Zelda try to kick things off with a game between the two of them,
Hmm.
to get to know each other a little bit better. So I thought maybe we could play Two Truths and a Lie.
Okay.
What do you
You do you want me to go first
It's up
or
to you. It's up to you.
okay. Two truths and a lie. I have lived in three of the four states that begin with the letter I. I, over the course of my life, have had cats, dogs, and iguanas. And uh, I have, I'm not good at this game. I have more yarn than I can conceivably knit in the years I have remaining to me on this earth. That wasn't a very good two truths and a lie, but that's what I got.
Well, you know what though? That's gonna make me feel really bad if I pick the wrong one. Because like I was assuming that the third one was going to be the lie, but I don't know. That could be true. So,
I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, so I'm going with number three is the lie.
Number three is super true. I've been knitting for 40 years on and off, but I have yarn from
Mm.
eons gone by. The one that's a lie, I've never had an iguana.
Okay, you've never had an iguana?
I have never had an iguana. Nope.
No, no desire.
Yeah, no, I mean no opportunity, but also no desire. I grew up with cats and dogs. I've had cats as an adult, and I love a dog. My cats would absolutely never forgive me, and my husband and daughter aren't into getting a dog, so we're a cat household now. And growing up in the Air Force and then marrying someone who also moves a lot for his job, I have lived in Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana, but I've never lived in Idaho. So that's the fourth I state.
Ah, so you have moved around a fair bit then.
I have.
What do you like about moving around?
I don't like it.
Oh, not at all. You don't enjoy
Um,
the adventure of a new
it's
place?
well, I've never known a home. That's a bit of a stretch, but I don't feel like I have a home base, and I think it was exciting-ish when I was younger a little, but now that I'm older, it's not. Yeah, no, if I could cut out like three-quarters of the moves I've done in my life, that would, I think I'd feel more stable.
So, was that part of the reason why it was important for you to give Zelda a sense of home and community in the story?
I didn't think about it at the time, but possibly. I mean, I like to say that I see a little bit of myself in almost all of my characters. I don't think Peter and I have anything in common, but I do see parts of myself in Zelda, and I hadn't thought that maybe I was writing some of that into her. I know for her as a character, she was definitely a vagabond for her life. Maybe I unthinkingly did put some of my feelings about that into her without intending to.
Yeah, well, it's you never know what slips in and then you kind of realize after the fact like,
Hmm. Well, Peter and I do have one thing in common. We love Diet Coke.
oh, okay, that's your one thing in common.
That's
But
it.
you
Yep.
yeah, but I'm assuming you don't get drunk drinking Diet
I do not. I do not. But I do go through withdrawal when I don't have it. So,
So just to wrap things up then, I was curious about one thing. Yeah, and this is again, this is probably going to be a complete throwaway. But you have this reference in the book to mindfulness, and it is an offhand remark early on in the book. Do you remember the reference I'm talking about?
I mean, I think that she's into mindfulness generally in this book. So not maybe the specific reference you're talking about, but just sort of, the fact that it's mentioned in the book, I do remember.
She willed my mind to go quiet and empty with the mindfulness skills I'd honed.
Hmm. Hmm.
Since becoming a did you say yogi? I
Yeah.
now so is that actually a part of yoga? I mean, I don't know that much about yoga per se. So,
I mean, I think that it is. I mean, I'm certainly not someone who could teach yoga classes, but I've taken some over the years. And yeah, I think mindfulness is definitely, and, doing things with setting intentions, doing things with an intention behind them, is a part of, the practice of yoga. I'm far from an expert, like not even remotely an expert, but that's been my understanding.
okay, cool. Because I it was on my mind because we recently watched this show called what's it, Murder Mindfully? It's a
Oh,
German
okay.
it's a German show that's on Netflix, and it's a dark comedy.
Hmm.
So, but the guy at the same time is becoming a murderer. He's taking a mindfulness course. So he's learning
As one does.
right, learning how to chill out. And I was thinking maybe Peter could use some of that.
Indeed. Indeed.
So, yeah, out of all three of your protagonists or your male main characters in your My Vampire series, you've got Frederick, Reginald, and Peter. So, which one would be the one that you would date if you had to pick one of the three of them?
Frederick. I think, he's the least sort of up to date on reality, but he's, I think, the most stable of the three. And I think he'd be a pretty doting boyfriend.
So the stability appeals to you.
Yeah, and Reginald is probably my favorite character, but I would never date him. So,
Isn't that funny how that works out? Sometimes
mhm.
like, oh, this is a great character, but no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And out of all of the female main characters, which one would you want to have a girls' night with?
Zelda. I definitely identify most with Amelia, but Zelda I'd want to hang out with more.
Just,
So,
just more fun.
mhm.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been great having an opportunity to chat with you about the book. And I'm just wondering before we go here, is there anything that you can tell us about what's next now that you've wrapped up the My Vampire series?
Yes, so I am working feverishly on my fourth book that's not in this series. I have 2 weeks before the deadline, so but we're going to be seeing a Grim Reaper in this one, and I'm having a really good time writing it.
Oh, well, that sounds fantastic. I can't wait to see what you've got in store for us. Thank you so
Thanks.
much for joining me today.
Well, and thank you so much for chatting. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and readers can grab a copy of Road Trip with a Vampire now. It's in stores. And if you haven't checked out the other My Vampire books, grab a copy of them too. Thanks again for being here today.
Thank you so much.